Once upon a time, in a beautiful green meadow surrounded by rolling hills, there lived a friendly goat named Gizmo and a noble horse named Honey. Gizmo was a small goat with fluffy white fur and a playful personality. Honey was a tall, strong horse with a shiny coat of chestnut brown. Despite their differences in size and appearance, Gizmo and Honey were the best of friends and spent every day together, exploring the meadow and the fields, playing games, and having all sorts of adventures. One day, as Gizmo and Honey were out for a stroll, they heard a strange noise coming from the direction of the farm. It sounded like someone was trying to break into the barn. Without a second thought, Gizmo and Honey raced towards the farm as fast as they could, determined to protect their home and their friends from harm. As they approached the barn, they could see that there were three shady-looking characters trying to force open the doors. Gizmo and Honey knew they had to act quickly, so they came up with a plan. Gizmo would distract the robbers while Honey snuck around to the back of the barn and called for help. Gizmo bravely trotted up to the robbers and bleated loudly, trying to get their attention. The robbers were startled by the sudden noise and turned to see what was going on. Gizmo took the opportunity to headbutt one of the robbers, knocking him to the ground. The other two robbers were so surprised that they didn't know what to do, giving Honey the chance to gallop off and call for help. While Honey was gone, Gizmo did his best to keep the robbers at bay. He used all of his cunning and strength to dodge and weave around them, trying to buy time until help arrived. The robbers were much bigger and stronger than Gizmo, however, and he was starting to get worn out. Just when things were looking their bleakest, Honey returned with some of the other animals from the farm. There was a rooster named Red who was known for his loud crowing, a cow named Bessie who was strong and dependable, and a group of mischievous mice who were always ready for a good adventure. Together, they chased the robbers off and made sure they couldn't come back. After the robbers had been vanquished, the other animals threw a big celebration in honor of Gizmo and Honey's bravery. There was music and dancing, and everyone feasted on the finest food and drink the farm had to offer. Gizmo and Honey were hailed as heroes, and they basked in the glow of everyone's admiration. As the night drew to a close, Gizmo and Honey retired to their barn, tired but happy. They had saved the farm and their friends, and nothing could ever change that. From that day on, they were known as the bravest and most loyal friends any animal could ever hope to have. The following days were peaceful and uneventful, and Gizmo and Honey enjoyed their time together, exploring the meadow and the fields, playing games, and having all sorts of adventures. They were happy and content, living the simple life of farm animals. One day, however, they received news that there was a group of thieves who were targeting farms in the area, stealing animals and supplies. Gizmo and Honey knew that they had to do something to protect their home and their friends, so they decided to set a trap for the thieves. With the help of the other animals, Gizmo and Honey set a trap for the thieves. They pretended to leave the farm unattended, hoping that the thieves would take the bait and try to steal from them. As they waited and watched, Gizmo and Honey were filled with a sense of nervous anticipation. They knew that this was a risky plan, but they were determined to do whatever it took to protect their home and their friends. As the sun began to set, the thieves finally arrived at the farm. They snuck into the barn and started to load up their wagon with all sorts of supplies and animals. Gizmo and Honey waited until they had a good chance to catch the thieves off guard, and then they sprang into action. Gizmo bleated loudly, alerting the other animals to the presence of the thieves. Honey galloped towards the thieves, his hoofs thundering on the ground. The thieves were caught completely by surprise, and they scattered in all directions, trying to escape. The other animals joined in the chase, and together, they were able to catch the thieves and tie them up until the authorities arrived. Gizmo and Honey were hailed as heroes once again, and the farm animals celebrated their victory with another big feast. From that day on, the farm was safe and secure, thanks to the bravery and loyalty of Gizmo and Honey. They spent their days together, exploring the meadow and the fields, playing games, and having all sorts of adventures. They were the happiest and most content animals on the farm, knowing that they had protected their home and their friends from harm. And so, the little goat and the noble horse lived happily ever after, always looking out for each other at their beloved farm. The end.